Yo, yo, yo. Everybody, hey, welcome to the show. This Thetan Radio E-Meter Audit. This is our fifth show. We got James with us today. He's running a little bit late from Wavelab, but we're going to get the show on the road anyways.
I thought you said this is our fish show.
It is fish.
We've been having a lot of sandwiches lately.
Yeah. Can I buy you a fish sandwich?
Yeah. I don't know. It doesn't get old to me, but anyway. I'm in my new super shed digs.
Dude, that's awesome. Make sure I'm not getting any messages. Dude, I love the super shed digs, and kind of a heads up to people here. Just 1 second. I'm just making sure. Didn't get any weird messages from James. Yeah, that after we've got one more show in March. So starting April, we're gonna change the name, right? We're gonna change it from E-Meter Audit. Jeremiah, you want to talk about the name a little bit?
Oh yeah, okay. To the other, the one person I think that's in here with us. I don't even know who that is, but
that's right.
yeah. So it's actually kind of appropriate because our last guest of the month is a mutual friend of ours for a long time, Corey Deal.
Yep.
And we used to always, for some of our older friends, been around for 20 years? Wow, it was like 15, 20 years ago. We used to kind of live in this party house in Wallingford neighborhood of Seattle. And the address was the 303. And there was a detached garage that we just stored a bunch of crap in, and we partied in there, and it was called the Super Shed. So we thought, we're going to dedicate the name of the show to that place where we have so many great memories. And man, we had that back room with four decks were in there at one point, 2 mixers. We were able to 2x4 back. Man, that was awesome.
Yeah.
So I think that's the perfect thing.
Yeah.
Over from E-Meter Audit to Super Shed. I think you had a good point. Like when we first talked about doing this, that the Scientology thing seemed pretty funny, but that's like wringing blood out of a rock. I mean, oh, look who it is.
Right.
So the Super Shed's a great homage to just our history, and if you get it, you get it. If you don't, it still makes sense. It's still cool.
And basically it's what we're doing, right?
Yeah. We're kicking it.
It's friends getting together, kicking it, doing what we do. If it's music, it's music. If it's something else, it's something else, right? But it's basically it's just us friends getting together, kicking it, doing what we do.
I see Curiouser and Curiouser is here. That's awesome.
Oh, awesome.
Sorry, I mistook you as someone else when we first started chatting. Hey, look who it is.
Oh, yay.
Yeah. Dude, the hardest working man in show business right there.
Dude, this fool's on fire.
This guy does not rest. He does not rest.
And we can't hear you.
Nope.
Nothing like this. Nothing like the stresses, man. I'm so much more relaxed about.
Oh man.
When my stuff was going sideways on Saturday, it's like, what? It's not working. All right, let's figure it out. I mean, we've had enough things go wrong on different shows now that's like, hey, it's gonna happen, but you can't hear me. Oh, there we go. I think we got you.
Yeah. There it is. Yeah, it's par for the course at this point. How's your Monday blues going there, buddy? Oh,
do we still not have him? I thought we had him for a second.
I know we did. Hey, check your preferences in Zoom and make sure your output is turned up. That's what my problem was. There's got to be a way to set that. So I'm gonna sing you a little ditty here while we wait.
You're gonna sing a little ditty. Oh, but one thing also that I'm learning, Jeremiah, I've been having conversation with people. What?
Yep.
All right.
Yep. Okay.
Cool. We'll get back to it.
Oh, damn.
Put that Superman cape back on, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was clutch.
Yeah, it was. I know
Nice.
You literally just got home.
Yes.
I did.
Yes.
I did.
That's insane, dude.
Yeah. So that whole drive, I've been doing that drive from, back and forth from Tacoma, South Tacoma, University Place to Capitol Hill for almost 2 years. I'm done.
No, thank you, man. No, thank. Yeah, you need to. You were telling me you were going to start switching your business modality to more the South End, and man,
that's my plan, but shit never works out that way.
It's a process, but it's. Oh man, 2 years. I did that for. I just told you earlier. I was doing that for a couple of years, and it drove me insane.
Yeah,
I did the opposite for almost 10 years, 9.5, almost 10 years, from the North End to Parkland.
Yeah, no fun. Yeah, and then
I heard somebody the other day. I heard somebody the other day say, "Look, you're not stuck in traffic. You are traffic."
You are traffic.
So it's so funny to like. We all sit there and get mad at everybody else. You're doing the same shit to them. Like it's universal, right?
Yeah.
But just do what you can to get out of it and make your life better, man.
How about an automated vehicle? I could just get a nappy in.
Oh, my light just came unplugged. Pardon me, man.
All good.
I love your setup. That's beautiful.
My super shed.
It's great.
Well,
I almost want to make moonshine in there.
Man.
Oh, what you don't know.
I've
That's why I wear these thick glasses, man. All that shining.
I've been watching some shows lately, and I've been thinking about, I need to start distilling along with my slow cooking and my barbecue. The perfect thing to go with it is distilling. I don't drink, so I'm thinking I'm gonna nudge my boss a little bit, say, hey, dude, we should make some shine. Like, you can test it out. I just want to make it.
Just did a nice collection of sleeveless shirts.
Right. Knock out a few teeth.
Sleeveless flannels and some jorts, and you're in.
It's a jorts.
Where the pockets hang below the cutoff line.
Right.
Keep it classy, San Diego.
Keeping it classy. Oh, that's awesome. That's
man. I want to hear. No offense to anybody who's come before, but I'm really looking forward to James just talking about whatever he wants to.
Okay.
Okay. And I'm bummed out I missed last week because that was a complete shit show. My life has suddenly gotten a little bit more intense, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's funny. I know that I've been aware of you, James, for only over the last couple months have we really kind of started connecting.
Right.
And we've been kind of putting the pieces together as to how that all kind of maybe started. I don't know if it was Cascadia at our vendor booth or what.
Right.
My roommate Erin broke some shit down to me. She was like, "Yeah, dude, he bought a bunch of your stuff. He bought an amazing piece for his lady." And I was like, "Wait, what?" Because some things are really like nebulous, right? They're somewhere in your brain, but you don't attach a face or a name to it. Like, and you're at a festival, and trust me, we're all having a great time.
Right.
Memory is not post festival.
Yeah. Well, for me, that was probably one of the hardest weekends of my life. And I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, because you do all this pre-production for these events months and months in advance. You sit down with, almost several dozen people, and you begin planning this process. And then you do some pre-production, a little bit of, heavy lifting, and then you get to the event and you have 5 days, maybe 4.5 to just crush it, build everything. And then it's amazing. And then sprinkle glitter all over it and then just go. Yeah. But the job doesn't stop. Like, it's a constant putting fires out, like they came to me and they're like, "Oh yeah, we forgot Sunshine Jones needs a DJ booth built." And I'm like, "Sweet. Okay. When? Like right now."
Like right now.
Okay, let's go do it, but it was one of the hardest jobs I've ever done, but the most rewarding. And don't get me wrong, like, being a part of that magic is amazing, and getting to see all of the stuff happening in the the backdrop. But I've worked some gnarly jobs, but Cascadia is brutal. Like, every single person needs just a standing round of applause for all the work that they put in, because there's so much work that people don't see, and there's so many things happening, behind the curtain that you can't even fathom. But I remember taking a break, and one of the breaks that I got was to get to walk around with my lady, go through the vendor booths, get something to eat, and then we saw so many amazing pieces. We're like, we're going to come back for that, we're going to come back for that, but it didn't stop, and then finally, when you really get to just chill out is when the sun goes down, everything's, just vibing and people are dialed in, and then you get to dance and you get to be a part of that magic,
Yeah.
and then you get to wake up in the morning and start it all over again.
Yeah. That is definitely an example of seeing the fruits of your labor, I would imagine. It's kind of crazy because I remember late 90s getting into this, you would show up somewhere and you wouldn't necessarily think about that too much.
Right.
And then you start, connecting and making friends, and you may or may not get more of a peek behind the curtain as to what's going on. But I remember at one point I was at a show or an event and I realized, it's actually, I can't really just sit here and have fun anymore because I'm way too aware of how hard everyone's working.
Right.
I'm like, my friends who are putting this together, whoever it might have been, get various events, I'm like, I can see their stress, and but there's so like, what impresses me are the ones, and it's most of them honestly, that are so cool under fire. Like I can't do it. I'm a neurotic nutcase. Like if I can get one job and I can maybe get that done.
Right.
But multitasking in a party environment, my ADD just goes bonkers. And I'm so impressed with people that can hold it down. Like it blows without, when you got people coming up to you asking you all kinds of things, and I just see them like usually pretty relaxed, give them a proper answer and say, hey, we're doing what we can. Where I put myself in their shoes and I'm like, man, I would walk away. I'd probably flip out. So I just can't do it. And I'm impressed with the cats that do, because it's vital. It's more vital almost than the sounds coming out the speakers, because
100%. One of the biggest factors is the fact that they have so many different volunteers, and I mean dozens and dozens for every crew, and these young kids that come in and step up and they just really want to be a part of this whole entire moment and step up. They don't realize, I'm going to work your ass into the fucking ground. They said you had to work for 4 hours, but I need you for 16. We good?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
We don't ever make them do that, but the ones that really, I mean, the last year that we've had, we're up and going, 2019. There were some cats that stepped up and they were with me right by my side the whole week, for 20 hours.
Yeah.
And, and that was impressive. And then at the end of the event, you look at them and you're like, we're going to see you next year. And they just kind of give you a wink. And I'm like, I don't know if that was a yes or a no, but.
You know what? There's something about that though. Like, so the last few kind of big events I've been to, I have thrown my hat in and participated more. And ever since then, it's kind of the opposite of what I was saying earlier. Now it's kind of hard to just go to a thing and not get involved. Like I feel it's so much more rewarding to put a stake in the ground. Right. Say, yeah, man, I helped do that. Like that was really cool. And you come home and your memory set is enlarged. I was gonna say embiggened. That's not a good word either. But I don't know. You feel like you resonate more. Like I don't know. There's something about like that you made that event yours.
You're being part of, right?
Yeah, it's amazing, and I don't know. It's good. I'm blabbing. I'm sorry.
No, you're absolutely.
What happens when you miss a week? You got so much to make up for.
Let's go catch up.
It's all good.
So you just recently, did you officially change your channel name yet?
I did. Yeah.
Did?
So
yeah, you did.
The thing about it is we, like, for me, that's always been like a kind of a cheesy, silly nickname that I was given from some of my college, buddies. And,
right.
I like to kick it. But but I had no intention of it really going really anywhere. Just being, because I kind of like hiding behind that. When it comes to these virtual realms and you're in the multiverse, nobody knows who the fuck Jiminy Cricket is, and I love that. But
Right.
it just kept kind of snowballing, and then finally I kept telling myself, and I'm literally months was like, okay, we gotta change that. Finally I was like, I gotta do it. So I did. But with every week, and the big challenges that you have facing doing a weekly is you run into a shit show every week, and it's just little things here and there that you need to iron out. And I know I'm not doing things to the best of my abilities, because let's face it, when it comes to something that you're doing and you're wrangling and herding kittens every week, it's true that you really, you kind of get to that minimal output, and so especially someone like me, I'm, owner and operator of my own business, and that's my number one.
Yeah.
When the fact, the matter is, that's my priority, then it's taking care of my family, my partner, my kids. And then, you look at the totem pole and music is at the very bottom for me, which sadly, I wish I could flip that, but it's just not possible.
Right.
And I see people out there that are driving and rocking and crushing it. And music is their number one. And no hate, no jealousy, not a lot, but I imagine, if I had more time, the work that I could really put into it. And you see something on that level, and that's like the 5-day window, building, stages for Cascadia. That's the, I'm doing this live stream 5 days a week for 8 hours a day type of, environment. That landscape, it doesn't exist for me. So when I have time, I come home after sometimes a 4 to 5 hour round trip commute, and I will spend time with my partner. We'll cook dinner together. We'll eat, we'll wind down, we'll handle some stuff. And then I still have paperwork that I handle. When you get to be on a larger project and you're there for 1.5 to 2 years, you don't think about that next hustle. So you're not out there grinding and trying to, sell yourself and work on marketing or advertising. But when you come down to the wire and you're like, all right, I need to get this next big contract.
Yep.
You start to panic and freak out. So then you're going out on bids and you're looking at jobs that you're like, Lake Stevens?
Oh, that's rough for you, man.
But you just got to go where the money is. But the reality is when you look at that schedule, and 9 times out of 10, I'm tucking people in and I'm relaxing for a little bit, maybe some downtime, a little meditation, and then I get up and I'm working for another 3 or 4 hours, and I'm going to bed at 2 or 3 in the morning, and I'm getting up at 6:30.
Yeah,
that's the reality of it. If I want to do and continue what I'm doing, that's the sacrifice that I make. But there are ulterior motives. Absolutely, I do this for the love of it, but there's intention behind it, and it's going to develop. But you can't do that alone, and I know that. So I'm working to build an artist collective. I'm working to find people that I really can count on, that have what it takes to put that energy and love right back into it. So it's a slow crawl, and it's okay, because we're also waiting for the dust to settle. So when that happens, I want to be able to be positioned and ready for it. So that's kind of the intention behind all of this. And what Chuck had mentioned, what people do during COVID and what we've been doing to cope, to keep our sanity. And it's been music for me my whole life, but the biggest aspect that I honestly can say is this has helped me to maintain my sanity. This has helped me to help others maintain their sanity. And it's not just for me, it's for people I know that have done this as a career, and they're missing out on these opportunities to just even play for the general public. And we've been doing this 100% on our own time. I would love to pay every DJ out of pocket what they deserve. Then I wouldn't pay my mortgage, but I'm working on it, and we're going to get there. And when we do launch, and we're throwing events in clubs and private parties on large properties out in the woods with a huge fucking sound system, we're going to get there. And I have no doubt about it. But right now, what's integral is I'm building that core artist collective.
Yep.
So, music has really just been a salvation. It is my weapon against all the chaos. And if I didn't have it, I wouldn't be here right now. That's for sure.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
Whew.
Yeah. So
it's oh, go ahead, Chuck.
no, so as we we look forward a little bit, and you start to develop those different events. How much do you think is going to translate of what you've learned and what you've started to put together and pick on or take on during this time when we've been locked down and isolated from each other and now right I had it's kind of a joke for 2020, right? Is the year that DJs became graphic artists, became we became AV technicians, we became TV producers, and we stopped being able to see in the dark, right? So it's like this all like happened in like a few month period of time, bam. So as like the lights get turned back off and we go back out, in amongst everybody, how much is actually going to translate and how much you're going to take of these new skills because the stuff I don't know, I'm pretty honored, and it's like it's awesome to see like the circles and like the networks that start to connect, but the production quality over the last year, right? How it's evolved over the last year has been freaking amazing. These shows that everybody, your shows, Jeremiah's shows, like all these, I love tuning into these shows because it is that. It's a show. It's not just DJs playing music, right? It's we're connecting with community, but it's an instant experience. It's a all-encompassing audio, visual, like there's emotion. It's all of this kind of all comes together. A lot of them are interactive, like the channels themselves are interactive, and people are putting all these the work, and it's just like it's really cool to see. And as we open up, right? Because I definitely, right, as I take my when we can and it's safe, and I take my Renegade stuff out of the garage finally, and we're going to the beach or we're going to the desert. I've already built in the thing at the head DJ booth. It's got an HDMI input, right? I'm going to be having cameras, and I'm going to be there. You can bet that you will be seeing it. Well, I don't know if it's going to be on Twitch, YouTube, or something else, but absolutely, I'm going to be broadcasting stuff.
Yep, and that's a whole silver lining to a lot of this. One of the things that I look at is the fact that, and I'm very green to a lot of this. There's been guys that I'm really good friends with that have been doing this for, 2-3 decades. So hats off to them, and doing a fucking weekly at that, which blows my mind.
It's crazy.
But strip it down, because they're throwing this in a venue and they're asking DJs to show up with headphones and a fucking flash drive. Okay. They're not asking them, hey, do you think that you could bust out a sick overlay and maybe do some green screen visuals? And,
right.
But, the silver lining is, there's so many things that have come from this, and for me, being able to witness it directly has been phenomenal. Like, my girlfriend, she DJs with me, and that blows my mind because she's picking it up so fucking fast, and I think I'm just going to be
awesome too, man.
I'm just going to build overlays and do green screen shit now, and I'm just going to watch her play now. That's kind of been my steez, but all the silver linings that have come from this are incredible, but you better believe, like, when the dust does settle and we're out there and shit's running rampant, you better up your fucking game, because there's a lot of kids out there that have leveled the fuck up, and they're gonna deliver it. And so that's where eyes are gonna be all on you. So,
dude, I want to green screen a DJ booth, right? Like literally for like a little Renegade, have a little like easy up 10x10 with a green screen right there. So the up close and personal, you're seeing whatever. But if you back up and we got the projectors going, all of the stuff, the visual type stuff, and the work that I'm putting on visuals and stuff now, am I going to take that out to the desert? Am I going to take it out to the beach? Abso-fucking-lutely. Abso-fucking-lutely. I'm taking all of this shit that I took here out there with big sound. That's what I'm doing.
I'll tell you guys, I have learned more in the last couple of months than I've learned in a long time. And it's been really great because I get to utilize like my sense of design skills and art stuff. I'm going through old prints. Like, I've made so many scenes where they're so self-serving. They're like animating of my dudes like holding up orbs that are glowing. Like, it took me a day to make it. I'm like, you know what? No, it doesn't work. It doesn't work in this. Yeah, it's cool that I learned how to do that.
Right.
But it's like when someone learns a new word and they're saying it every other sentence. All of a sudden, you're like, you clearly just learned that word. Like, you got to pull back at a certain point.
Right.
But it has been a lot of fun, and
Yeah.
I am looking forward to how this is going to be utilized with whatever's next.
Right. Right. It's exciting. We are on the cusp of a lot of really incredibly things that have already begun to, take ground, and we'll see where we end up. And even a year from now, I'm just excited to see what's happening. There have been guys out there that, like, our Wax Lab, residents, Ian and Sylvan. These guys have been on the cutting edge of doing a lot of things with, virtual reality, and they've,
Are
held
those the Sonner? What do they go by? Oh no, you're talking about Drawbird.
Drawbird, yeah, and Sylvan J, yeah.
Yeah.
But they've already put together events at Rebar that have been full and I wish I could have attended, just one of them to see and just to have witnessed it. But, from what I hear, there's a 50-50 experience. Some people, see this physically and they're like, that's kind of fucking weird. But if you really are immersed in this and you understand what's happening, it's like, holy shit.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like watching a Max Cooper performance. You're like, wow.
Yeah.
Or like some Amon Tobin action.
Yes.
Where you're like,
Yep.
that is some next level shit.
It is.
And it will literally it scares people.
Yeah.
I mean, it does. Like what the fuck is happening? Like, for lack of a better word, scare may be a strong word, but like, people can apply a whole lot of Armageddon scenarios to technology.
Yeah.
And this culture is on the forefront of that.
Yeah.
And people might see it like we're dancing, having a great time, and other people are like sitting back there on a bad acid trip going, how is this going to be weaponized?
Yeah.
I've seen it happen. I tried to introduce my brothers to this whole culture, and that's where their mind goes. It's like, wow, dude. Like,
yeah.
What really?
Well, one of the cool things about it is, is where our kids are going to take this,
Oh, man.
My son, Rocco, he's 11, and he's witnesses this, and this blows his mind,
I'm
so
sure.
for him to see what is accessible, imagine where these guys are going to be in 10 years,
You know what's really funny about that is I've got friends who have kids about his same age, and there's like, oh, that's the shit my parents are into. Like, I don't know if they just don't get the repetitive music or the lyrics that don't have to do with codependency. Maybe that's the problem. Let's not go. We need to go into pop music, but no, it's really interesting that like you can have two kids that like on the surface are so alike, and then they see this shit and they either vibe with it really tough,
right,
or they think that's their parents' thing, or maybe it's just because it is their parents' thing, they don't want anything to do with it. I'm not going to blame a kid for having their own independent.
Yeah, but I mean, think about this. I inherited my parents' record collection, and there were fucking dope pieces in there. I would geek out on like opening up the
dope
wall
shit with my dad.
What the hell is this shit?
Yeah, it's awesome.
So,
yeah, I don't know. So the light
Tracy's
that I added hey Tracy, I added a new light for today to help. That's my son's light, right from his setup. When I was doing
is that your O light?
Yeah, well, yeah, the one that's right in front of me here. The one behind. I've got one that's mounted on the wall, and I didn't want to change it. So like
flashing less.
So I'm like, yeah. Imagine that, right? So I borrowed that from my son. On some of the early virtual gatherings that I did, I'm using his machine to run through stuff. Like he is the one that taught me how to set stuff up for Twitch. I could figure out the OBS stuff and kind of do all that nerd stuff on my own. But no, my son is like, okay, here's Discord. Here's this. And
Discord makes my head hurt, dude.
I'm just like, oh my gosh. And now, my wife laughs at us and she's like, the adults have fully taken over the children's toys.
Right.
Be right back, guys. I'm going to grab another beer.
Grab me one.
Anybody need anything? Okay, I'll be right back.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive, though. I mean, I think he feels like a lot of kids. He's the outcast. He's the freaking geek because he's into, live streaming and gaming and the technology, and it's really that's what's captivated him, and I want to remind him people like you guys are the ones that create and develop the landscape in the future. It's the geeks and the nerds that have completely changed the landscape that we live in now. So stay focused, stay true to your heart, and just maintain that consistency, son.
Yeah, I was the AV nerd that rolled the film projector in the room and set up the movie for the teacher. Right, that's what I was interested in. I did that in starting in elementary school. Right, and now as soon as these get locked down, I'm doing it on Twitch. Right, so
Right.
yeah.
You know what cracks me up, Chuck, and I know you can relate to this, is I was a Marvel comic geek since I was like 5, and now I've got all my friends going, is what happened in the Avengers movie? Is that what happened in the comics? I'm like, dude, how about you put in the 30 years of work and you guys fix it yourself? Like, you know what? There's alternate universes within that universe, and I'm not even sure which. I don't know. Who cares? Who cares? Just enjoy it.
It's a cool freaking story, right?
No, it was so weird. It was so weird getting a little bit of shit when I was a kid to now like, so what's up with that, homie? I'm like, wow. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm not bitter about it. It's just a little bit. Do I sound better? I'm really not, because now I actually care less than they do. I'm like, I don't know, who fucking cares? I moved on to Image and Dark Horse. I don't care about Marvel no more.
They're like, what is that?
Oh yeah, write that down real quick.
That's
I
awesome.
like how your background looks like a green screen. That is
It's not. It's not. I'm in the trees.
Oh wow, it's a big fern.
We could chroma key and throw some trees back there.
You need that sorted out.
That'd be awesome.
That's awesome. All right.
So what do you got coming up? You got something big coming up this Saturday. You got another like 6-8 DJ festy coming up?
So we've got Jaderade going back to back with Goobs. I'm really, really fired up. These guys are fucking fire. You know,
who are they from? Where are they about?
So they're from Seattle. They're, local boys that are on the Mind at Large crew, and just from the very get, just fire as shit. These guys are they've embraced it. They got it. There's cats that just walk into this and stumble across it and just kind of toy with it. They've picked it up and fucking grabbed the ball and they're running.
Nice.
So I'm really excited for that. They did a 2-hour back-to-back, or they're going to be doing a 2-hour back-to-back set. And then we also have one of my good buddies, Tate Modern.
Oh, I love Tate.
Fuck yeah. Uniting Souls Music, Tate Modern.
Tate's not only a fantastic DJ, he's just a cool person, man.
Pretty human. Yeah. Much love, brother.
I mean, and I'm sure everybody that you work with is probably that way, but clearly I don't know them all, but that's fantastic.
And then we have James Christopher. He's he's breaking out and doing some solo sets, but he is one half of Double Shot.
Okay.
They're a duo from Tacoma on Ocean Grooves Entertainment crew, and I'm really excited for that because I love being able to kind of press the envelope with some DJs and ask them to take on, a different genre.
Yeah.
And, he's more of that slapping fucking, booty tech house. And I mean, they crush it. Like Double Shot. If you guys don't know, go check them out.
I will.
But so he's going to be playing by himself. He's going to be going a little bit deep.
Cool.
Yep. And then Jules and yours truly, we're going to open things up, warm up the basement for them all.
Oh, Jules. Your lady Jules. I was thinking Jules O'Keefe. I was like, what? Wow, that came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you something. That went away.
Yeah. Well, we have some really interesting, shows lined up over the next couple of months. One is we have a back-to-back show that's going to be coming up in April. And I'm excited about that. There's still a couple DJs that are up in the air contingent upon availability. But the ones for sure, we're going to have the Wonder Twins and we're going to have Snaptron throwing down. It's going to be the Bay to Bay showcase.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And then we're really trying to see one of the biggest things that I really want to do is, doing a weekly is so fucking
I
tough.
don't know how you do it, man.
I'm scraping by. I need help.
I really don't.
Yeah, call me. Anybody call me. I'm trying to establish, specific themed nights where every third Saturday of the month we'll have, one DJ, and this just unfortunately enough, last week happened to have our east to the west coast.
That was awesome.
The warehouse DJs, Bobble and Red, threw the fuck down.
Dude, those guys, that was a really busy day of music. I'll tell you, because
Oh yeah.
Chuck and that whole crew were doing the Metamind.
Yeah.
I was bouncing between them and you. I had two different things. I was chatting in one room and listening to the other, and I started getting totally mixed up. And I was house sitting for my friend, and like her bird was pooping on my shoulder.
And aesthetic was happening too.
At one point, I had to turn it all off because I was I felt like I was going insane.
Right.
But Bobble and Red,
yeah,
there was something about them that just demanded respect.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was.
I've been doing this for over 3 decades, crushing it. Probably a lot longer than that, but these guys,
they were definitely old hats at it.
Yeah.
And like I loved it when, I don't know if the ladies hopped in and they were like fucking vibing with them, and I was like, man, that is some classic shit that I miss. Like,
Atlanta representing,
Well, that you know what, and it felt Atlanta.
Yeah.
Which is weird. I don't know what that's a weird thing for me to even say, because I don't know what that even means. But that's the vibe I got. I got a kind of an Atlanta vibe. Now I think I know what it means.
Right. Hey, my buddy Kenny Moore, shout out to you, my man. But he's the one that orchestrated that and helped me collab on that. We were gonna have a lot more warehouse DJs on that. It just didn't line up. We're gonna get something going, hopefully down the run in a couple months. We'll see what happens. But
cool.
What I'm really trying to do though is I'm trying to incorporate different themes for every week of the month. And so Rewind on the third Saturday of the month is basically showcasing, and replaying and restreaming a lot of our older sets from some of the DJs that just fucking smashed it and didn't really have an opportunity to, get that viewership. Oh, Jules is here. Come say hi, baby.
Hey, Jules.
Come here.
Okay.
Come here.
I don't want to.
You're on the spot now. Can't say no now.
Well, hey.
Actually, don't say that.
As long as she's in earshot and I can give a free plug, so that biomodular thing, Jules, if you want to be on episode 2, I would love to have you on there.
So what's the date?
Oh, it would be.
Who's counting?
So this coming Saturday is going to be episode 1, and it would be 2 weeks after that.
So we'll be back.
So,
yes. Ooh, no, that will be the weekend we come back. That'll be.
Don't worry about it. It's so in its infancy. I'm just trying to get shit laid out.
We're taking a break and we're getting the hell out of here. We're going down.
Nice, good for you.
Do it.
Compress and sit on the beach and just cut loose.
Just kick it. Just kick it.
Well, you could just play from there. What the hell's wrong?
I don't know.
No, that's not the point, right?
We could, but I don't know the bandwidth of the house.
Yeah, you know what? Don't even do it. You'll get sand in your undies and
in your equipment, right?
Yeah. Oh,
That's
trust
okay.
me.
Yeah.
Burning Man has taught me a few things.
Yeah.
An expensive lesson, possibly.
God.
Oh,
Actually, that's something I thought I'd bring up because
while we're here,
it's funny. Like, it's funny at night. I don't know if Chuck does this, but I'll be like laying there trying to sleep. I'm like, oh, that'd be a fun thing to bring up on the show.
all the time.
But I remember back, and I only went to Burning Man 3 times. It was 99, 2000, and 2001. And one of those years, Sony had released mini disc DJ players.
Yeah.
And I bought a pair for an ungodly amount of money.
Right.
And I took them to the burn. And sure enough, I'm playing on the back of a truck, and this windstorm comes through, and I'm playing this liquid drum and bass set, and there's a single naked girl riding around in circles on her bicycle, loving it. She's my only audience member, and man, that sandstorm
So you were loving it too, right?
Awesome.
And I don't even know if I brought them back home. They were so fried. But that's what, when you try to jump on the next level of tech, give it a generation or two is my recommendation.
Right.
I was a little green, but
Or don't bring it to Burning Man.
Weird shift of subjects right there.
Well, if you're gonna bring gear down, just rent it.
Nah.
Hey,
Act rich. Just
There's
ask it.
there's cats out there that rent gear specifically for Burning Man, and you
Yeah.
bring it back and they'll clean it all up. Like Christian
Oh my
Jackson.
God.
Ooh,
Well,
watch that YouTube video.
I think this was 2000. Was YouTube a thing yet? It doesn't matter.
No,
I don't think so.
no, I'm not thinking so.
Maybe in its infancy.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah.
We need to have some
No.
kind of dial-up, like AOL
Yeah.
themed night.
No, we were still rocking Northwest Techno in 2000, right? It was the Northwest Techno
Yeah,
message boards.
Yeah.
Wow, that's right.
That's
I was Steve Rave on.
right.
Yeah.
That was my handle.
The old Groove Tech days, the
Yep.
OCO Studios.
Thank you for bringing
Yep,
up Groove
yep.
Tech.
Groove
Yeah.
Tech.
That was one place I thought because Chuck and I a couple weeks ago were talking about our old hangouts,
What'd you get?
and I used to love going to Groove Tech and just sitting in there. It felt like
Yeah.
like. Do you guys remember that street artist who had the installer remover? Do you remember that sticker and poster was everywhere?
What was it? Say it again.
It was called the installer remover, and he was sort of like the techie Banksy of Seattle in like 99, 2000. His name was something Wolf.
Sure.
And he had like an art gallery next to Platinum. But his whole thing was this poster and a sticker, and it was
Right.
called the Installer Remover. I'll send you guys pictures of it
Okay.
sometime, and I'll see if it rings a bell, because that was right in that era when like record stores were opening up, and like the sound was really like, I think everybody was discovering it.
Yeah.
You know, late
Yeah.
90s, right as it turned 2000, it was like,
Right.
what is happening? This is amazing.
Well, and you want to talk about pioneers of live streaming, right? It's those guys,
Yeah.
right?
Those
They
guys.
they were like big ups, big shout outs to Groove Tech, right?
Yeah.
Because
No,
they
that's
were
a really good
they were
point.
the first ones, like, or one of the first. I think probably the first ones out of at least the Northwest Seattle area that was like, boom, we're putting DJs online, right? We had some stuff out of the UK. There was Radio One and some different stuff like that, or Studio One. That was doing stuff out of the UK, a lot of drum and bass. But it was Groove Tech, right? Oh man, so many of the
Yeah, that
homies
was
came through
cool.
there, right? And that's what inspired me back in like 2000 or so to do the Cyber Reaction Radio when I did that back in like 2000. But we were doing like Shoutcast servers and like live 365 stuff, and Groove Tech was full on. Hey, come to our site, listen to these DJs, buy these records, come hang out. Fucking those yeah. Big ups to those guys for sure.
Well, I lived right up on 12th, and I was working at Swedish Hospital, so I'd walk to work in the morning. On the way home, I'd stop and shop for records,
Yeah.
white labels, at Platinum, and then I'd go next door and eat a sandwich and just listen to whoever was playing.
Right.
I don't know, that was cool. That was cool,
Right. Pioneers.
Yeah,
big time.
Where
Yeah.
those cats at now?
I have no idea.
Man,
I
Yeah.
have no idea.
yeah, running guns, maybe, I don't know.
There's money in that.
I've heard. I watched that Scorsese produced movie last night, the Green Dragons or whatever.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, dude. It's a whole lot of people getting shot.
Scorsese. Forget about it.
I know. Well, produced, not. Oh, there it is.
There it is.
Man, the last one of those I had, a record box, got backed over by a Jeep. Joe Evans, if you're listening.
Called out.
No, not called out. He saved my life.
Okay.
I'm not even joking. I'll go over this real quick.
I thought he was going to be the one that.
I took my youngest brother to an outdoor when he had first got his license. He waited till he was 18 because he didn't want to do driver's ed, and that's got to be 20 years ago now. We went to a mountain party. We were there all night. We went to leave. He was driving, and he thought he'd show off his driving skills on the way down the mountain.
Perfect timing.
Started fishtailing,
Nice.
and then we started flipping.
Holy shit.
So we are tumbling and spinning, and if we would have went to the left, we would have went down a cliff and died.
Yeah.
We went to the right, we landed upside down. I remember having to kick the windshield out,
Jeez.
crawled out of it. Now I'm on the bottom of the car, which is up, and the wheels are spinning, and smoke is everywhere. I jumped down and I pulled him out of the car, and he was fine. I bled so much out of my head that I fell down, and Joe Evans came running up. and grabbed me, and there was a nurse at the party. She wrapped my head up, saved my life. Dude, he knows this. He knows he was there.
Damn.
Yeah, I forget about that sometimes. Wow. Okay, happy thoughts. Let's get.
Yeah. I mean, think about that. The trials and tribulations of throwing these events. That made me think about some of the old Renegade base shows. You guys remember those?
Yep.
Oh my God. Like more specifically, a couple of them. One was out on Highway 2, and I think it had to do with hunters coming down out of the woods and just blasting shotguns, and all the kids were scrambling and freaking the fuck out.
Dude.
Another time, there was kids coming up that were driving up, and they were fucked up, and there's kids in the back of the truck, and they ended up driving off the road, the gravel road, and into the river, and just bad shit happens, man. So it's super important to realize like how much, like the level of importance that we incorporate with security and making sure that people are staying safe. You know, it's a factor that a lot of people don't realize even exists until it's
right.
You
That's a really good point. Like the level of respect and safety and consideration for other people. Have you been to any of the what are the ones, the really small ones out in Eastern Washington that Ed threw for like 20 years? Prosperity.
No.
Have you ever been out to there?
Oh.
One of the craziest things. You know what? Maybe we shouldn't go here.
Well, no, it's all right. I think that's maybe something that we'd talk about for a minute because it's something I'm a little passionate about, right? And I'm not going to go too deep on my side, but I think that we need to clarify that, right? At the same time, renegades are a different beast, right? Because I am all about.
Good point, Chuck.
I'm all about the renegade parties personally. Like at this point in time in my life. Right. This is just where I'm at. This is what I like to do because I'm older and I do it differently than I did when I was younger. And I'm not the big club fan anymore. I'm not the big, huge, massive fan anymore. I'm not the big, huge warehouse fan anymore. I like to go visit them and whatnot, but my heart is outside and my heart is up in the mountains. My heart is out in the desert. It's on the beach. My heart is with like everybody coming together and being part of it. And it kind of goes on to something that we've talked about earlier about like just being part of. And I like everybody that shows up to be able to feel like they're part of, not just like not just like I didn't just buy a ticket for the ride and I'm here for the ride. Like I like to be I'm just more inclusive and less exclusive kind of a person. And
right.
And so by nature, the renegades are different because they're generally harder to find. They're going to be not as public or should not be as public, right? They're the underground side of things, and it's just I just want to go up with some friends. I want to like have a camp bonfire. I want to have a sound system, and I want to party like until I'm done partying. I don't want to have to shut off at 2 a.m. I don't want to have to do a lot of different things. I don't want to have someone like barking at me telling me what I can and can't do.
The thing about that, Chuck, is which I think you're alluding to, is that you can't control who's going to be there either. And some people shouldn't be there.
Yeah.
The problem is when something happens and now those people are making it your fault that they weren't prepared to be there.
But at the same time, I really feel strongly that in those situations, if it's all inclusive, right, and not exclusive, and everybody's part of, it's a community, right, and it's a group thing. And if something goes sideways, it's a group thing. It's not an individual thing. It's not an individual thing for the person that's experiencing it. It's not an individual thing for the person that's witnessing it. It's all of us. And when we fail, all of us, to step up and take care of that situation, we all failed, right? And it is not one person that's responsible for being the victim. There's not one person that's responsible for being even the perpetrator. Because if everybody else there let that shit happen, you fucking let that shit happen. And if you just said, oh, hey, and that's all you did, you still let it happen. Right? So it is not the fault of the person that's there that things go sideways, it's not their fault either, right? And we need to be really clear of that. But things go sideways, and you're not going to have security. You're not going to have med tents. You're not going to have a lot of these things at a Renegade because it's a different beast. This is not a festival. This is not a side stage at a festival, right? This is not a Renegade in the parking lot of a festival.
Osiris just nailed it in the chat.
Right. Well, what do you
No
say?
level of preparation will prevent people from going too far.
Correct. Yep.
Yeah.
And you know what? And I'm pretty sure he can attest to what I'm about to say. And I'm not going to say where it was or who was involved or whatever. But there was an event where a group of people showed up on a bus, and this motherfucker, some girl, a young girl, clearly was dosed out of her mind.
Right.
And some dude took a hatchet to his own arm.
Oh.
And later that night, like you were talking about, James, somebody came out of the woods and popped off a bunch of rounds into the sky.
Yeah.
And man, it was a lot.
Yeah.
But you have to
100% Osiris.
You have to be in tune. You have to be in tune with your spirit and to understand the dark energies that are out. And that person that popped off, they're a gun guy. To them, it wasn't a thing, right? But there were people in that crowd who a gun is a thing, myself included. Like I'm very uneasy around that shit. But and said person maybe meant no harm. Like they were probably out, wrangling cattle, and it's like that was the day to do that shit.
Dude, we're playing.
No, I know you're right.
You have to have an expansive mindset and a sense of who you are and who they are.
Yeah.
Because things can go dark really quick, especially if you're influenced.
Yeah.
You're
Well, yeah. And that's
I don't need to say any more about that.
No, yeah, and that's why I like the more inclusive, smaller events. Right.
Like we said,
I don't need the massives. I don't need the massives. I don't need the clubs. I want to go camping for a weekend with my friends and bring some freaking music and rock it. And now I want to bring some dope ass visuals and broadcast shit online.
Dude, I want to start renting little cabins. I want to start renting like cabins
what
out
I'm
in the
saying?
woods and like have a 50-person thing.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
That sounds nice. The intimacy. Yeah.
Yeah. That's just
This is the thing is we're no spring chicken. 50's coming up like right now, and
wow.
Hey.
So it's like right there.
And we really have to recognize the fact that we ran that gauntlet. We've been through that before, and one of the biggest things that we have to remember is it's not only about that connection and that love that you have with this music and with each other, but it's the fact that it's a responsibility, and
yes,
with
it is.
the safety measures that you have to take, the contingency plans, the measures that you have to go and basically assume responsibility for, because it's coming down to you.
Correct.
I'd love to say that it's a group effort, and it's that whole entire everyone is responsible for this, but when the shit hits the fan, all hands are pointing at one thing, and it's going to be the person who's responsible. So
to your point, I think those can work together, because if everybody there thought that way,
right,
then it reinforces both ideas, right?
Right.
If I'm there and I'm responsible for taking care of everybody, and if everybody were to think that way, that's a pretty progressive idea, and that works well. Man, there's something else that you said that really triggered a thought. Man,
Osiris nailed it again in the chat.
Really fast,
well, that's where these events, these intimate gatherings, these smaller affairs are just, you're synchronous with each other, you're like-minded and you align, and those are the events that are going to be just groundbreaking here and here for everybody.
I know what I wanted to say, and it kind of harkens back to what we've been discussing, but that same thing that when you and I, all of us, first discovered this, that like melted our hearts and opened us up, that very same thing that turned a positive key in our heart and soul, has the opposite effect on other people.
Yeah.
Like I was saying before, like it scares them. They're not used to people being that open. They're not. Those two guys are hugging each other. That guy just said he loved it. You know what I'm saying? And like it triggers whether it's childhood trauma or things they've been trained to think or do. And that I've seen it happen so many times where that intimacy between people that it ignites something dark in a different person.
Yeah, but I think
that's what we want to heal. Like
but I think that specific thing is something that we need to confront and not like shy away from. Like if we're having issues because of intimacy and embracing and love between people, then we need to like address that. And I do not want to cater an event or something that I'm holding to shy away from people being able to express themselves and to express themselves out of love.
Absolutely
right?
not.
Like
Are you kidding me? I wouldn't even want to go to that.
Yeah. More of a hey, if I think that you're the type of person, I need to let you know this potentially is going to be happening because I want people to be able to be who they are. We've spent too many decades, too long of a time for people that having to hide who they are from people that it's just no. Like these.
That is an of course. That is an of course thing. My point is that at certain events, especially if they're in the woods, out in I'm not gonna say where, but you get country folk that.
Yeah.
I'm not even trying to blame on country folk. There are so many amazing shit, man. There are city folk. There are city folk that suck, but people will be there. People will be there that don't get it, and it freaks them out.
Yep.
And I could harken back to a certain thing that happened on the backside of Capitol Hill about 20 years ago. If I mean, I don't want to pull up some old Band-Aids, but if Shepard's watching, you know exactly what the fuck I'm talking about.
Okay.
That shit was not. People ended up dead, man.
Right.
We are on the edge of emotional and technological advances. Like this isn't just tech. This is soul, energy, vibrational things we're dealing with, and it affects people in different ways.
And I think that that's something that we need to be aware of as those that are promoters and those that like create these gatherings and the events for people to go to. As the world starts coming back and people start coming back together, we need to be aware. And I am going to be super gun shy. Like I'm not going to be one of the first people out the gate to have a live event. When I do have a live event, I'm going to have probably like a handful of people there. And like I said, I want to go tighter in who gets the immediate information as far as to be there in person, and the masses can attend online. But it gives us more control over the environment and the community and all of that, and we can do that. But I am afraid. I'm afraid for these people for just to attend and for that throw some of these early events out the gate, because people are going to go buck wild. Buck wild.
I would like you to check the chat if you would, real quick, Chuck. Osiris is dropping some knowledge. I'm gonna run and use the bathroom real quick.
Yeah, absolutely. Osiris 100% on always, but I mean, he's right. But he is one of those mentors that we need to shepherd people through these expressions of freedom, right? And I think that some of us are, Oh my goodness, we're getting. So
I don't have the chat open. I'm missing out.
That's right. So by the way, you are in the forest.
I am.
You are in the forest. Right. You're in the, So we did make that happen, right?
Nice. I need my parka.
Right. Yeah, no, there's a lot of good things that Osiris is dropping in the chat, but when it comes down to it, I totally agree with you, and yes, and we have to take responsibility, and we are responsible, right? And we all play our piece, and yes, and when things do go down, everybody goes this way, that way, and everybody scatters as much as we want things to be, everybody scatters and everybody lets everybody down and points the finger at like one individual thing and said, it is your fault. You're the monster. You fucking did this.
Right.
And it's not fair, but it is the responsibility that we take.
Right.
Ultimately,
absolutely.
when it comes down to it, it is ours, and we do take responsibility, and we have to carry that.
Amen. You're absolutely correct. Yeah.
You know, but I can dream, and I want the community to do it.
We are already dreaming. Yeah.
You know, so I appreciate you and for what you're doing, and I know the work and stuff that goes into it. When I first went, well, obviously I know the work that goes in, especially a weekly show, and getting into it, I was working from home a lot and had the conversation with the wife. She's like, "Oh, we're just right there, anyways, right?" So it's like you're here. Anyways, it's not that big of a deal. And then sure as shit, like when like the first week it was supposed to happen, okay, get the call, all right, we're going back into the office. Right. And so now it's like now it's a different conversation.
Right.
And but it's
Cyrus is just killing it, man. I I love that man so much.
Yeah,
oh, and by the
me
way,
too.
phenomenal set. I believe he was warming things up on Saturday.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh
So
yeah.
I'm telling you, when I first got into this in '97, he, Joe, Matt, and Soul were the first DJs I met, and like, that's a whole other story.
People.
But I got so much love and respect for that man.
Yep. Nothing but
When we have
respect
him on, that's
for
gonna
sure.
be. We better put on our big boy pants when Osiris.
Yeah.
Better do some research, man.
Right?
Not even kidding.
Yeah. You better start digging now.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, probably actually.
Well, I mean, yeah. They just got the presence of, and you just, anyways, good people. They're good people.
Mofo.
Good people for sure. And dude, the late night deep flight that we played the drum and bass on, right? That was freaking dope, right? That was so much fun, just from beginning to end. Everybody was just on point and rocked
musical
it. And
moments I've had, at least
so much
streaming.
fun. Thank you.
That was probably the best streaming moment I've ever had, and
It was amazing. Yeah, really, really good sets by all. I am super impressed by the caliber of talent, the level of work that everybody puts in, and especially working with Ian and Sylvan and seeing how much effort they put into doing the visuals.
Madmen.
Yeah, phenomenal. So hats off to those two. But all the cats that are doing that similar stuff, Osiris's stream on Saturday, I couldn't put it down, and I had to go do work, and I'm like, I can't step away.
I know.
But it was amazing. So
well, he played again later. Didn't he play twice?
Yeah, he did, and I missed that. But I'd love to go back.
Second set, and it was sick.
Yeah, I'd love to go back and experience that. But we really, again, like I said earlier, we really have to make sure that we're paying attention to the amount of production that we're putting into it, because it's go time, and we're not just showing up with a pair of headphones and a flash drive anymore. Those days are gone.
You're right.
Yeah.
And I love that, actually. It's so funny how it went from being like, okay, so when the digital sort of DJing thing came out, there was all this debate about, if you use sync, I mean, are you still like, and that's a conversation we could have.
Right.
But if you're managing a chat, running scenes,
Right.
Whatever else you might be doing, like I'm enjoying the hell out of it. It lets me embrace the visual art side of me that like I will never let go, that I love. I mean, I've been DJing for twice as long as I've been making like artwork that I've shown to people.
Right.
But yeah, I'm the kind of the visual guy, which is fine. But I cringe at so much of my visual work. I cringe at so much of my DJ work too. I think you probably all do, right? But
right. We are critics.
It's just funny that I've been doing this twice as long, and I'm only now starting to feel like maybe I've got something to express through it.
Right.
And
that's a big factor too, because just as equally, the energy and time that you're putting into your music and digging and collecting and, or orchestrating or just gathering it and then just performing it, you're doing that with the art. And I'm so amateur level and green with all of that, you know. And
You could fool me, man.
it's I'm faking it. Not gonna lie, I'm
Right.
faking it.
So am I.
Me
Big
too.
time.
Me
We
too.
all are,
Me
which
too.
is I think that's kind of the beauty of it. Like, that's why I would never come to say this show, or no offense, James, even your show,
Right.
and expect it to just be without a hitch.
Right. Oh,
That would be, well, I'd have to have some weird ego about me for
right.
that. But,
Right.
but I think
That's the thing, even as an audio engineer, your job is to fix the fuck ups, because nobody's going to notice them until they notice them. And then it's all eyes on you. But, you know, for me, one of the great factors of all of that is I've created so many scenes and stages that I've never used.
Love you, Osiris.
And it just keeps getting deeper and deeper. Like last week, I was like, I just want Jules' background to look pretty. You know, I wanted
gorgeous.
I wanted to compliment her. So I'm like, cherry blossoms and, you know, sparklies. Let's do that. But
you know, you bring up a really good point, because as we've all said throughout the course of this night, this is new to a lot of it. It might, of all of us, this is probably the newest to me.
Right.
And when I first, you guys saw that first when I had the circular camera frame, and I was trying to squeeze myself in there, and like there was so much going on. I'm like, this is stupid. I look back at it later. I'm like, man, that's embarrassing.
See,
It's
that's
like that
great.
guy that just learned the word, and he's using that word every other sentence. Like, no, dude, I'm trying to bring it back to where I'm maybe down here in the corner now, and let some stuff. I'm stealing Max Cooper videos unapologetically. Like, yeah, no, they're cool.
This is the thing,
They're
is
awesome.
just like, you know, you find one of your old cassette mixtapes and you're re-listening to that, and you're like, oh,
you know what though? But you know what? But chances are good at the time, everybody's mixtape sounded like that.
Right.
Like,
right.
It's really important, I think, to keep in mind that you're your own worst critic.
Yeah.
And everybody feels that way about what they do. We all grow and progress. And you know what? The other day I was listening to something was playing, and I was like, man, this is garbage. And my roommates were like, I don't know, I like it. I'm like, oh. Here's the thing. They don't necessarily like what I do.
Right.
I like to think that I have a sophisticated ear. I'm not going to go do that. But everybody thinks that.
Right. You're really dropping sirens? Are you really throwing sirens in there?
Yeah. And who's, you know, and here's the thing. Who's to say that they're wrong?
Yeah, absolutely.
Music is an emotional thing, and it counts on your experience. And your experience is literally who you are.
Right.
So when you criticize someone for their music, you're dissing them.
Right.
And I'm really trying to get better at doing that, because that's not my place. It is not my place to register your emotional body against mine.
Well,
they're different. They're different things.
Yes, unless
and I will work on that my entire life. I promise you. But I'm
unless they ask you.
Sure. That's a whole nother
right? No. I think we need to clarify that, because if they ask you, I think if they ask you, you are doing a disservice if you're not honest.
Yeah.
Too many people are, hey, it's great, and it's like, dude, it's fucking shit. And all of a sudden they get to American Idol and they're in front of the judges and they're like, who the fuck told you could sing? And it was like everybody getting to that point, and now they're absolutely crushed. You absolutely crushed them, because now they realize that people have just been giving them fluff the whole time, and it's just like, dude, this whole time they've been embarrassing themselves thinking they could fucking sing.
But I think more than that, you need to be articulate in the whys.
Right.
You need to, like, okay, I'll just say it right now. I don't like trance and bass. It's a personal thing. Right. I could explain to you why, but we only, you know, this is James' show. This isn't.
I kind of want you to mix trance and bass.
But I don't. There's certain sound. There's certain. Well, and my roommate Erin expressed it very well. She's like, "That's not a bad sound. It's a young sound."
Yeah.
I'm like, that actually makes a whole lot of sense, because that sound just needs more time to develop, because in time you could have side drum and bass, which there is, and holy shit, some of it is amazing.
Right.
If you guys have never heard of Furry Onga, look him up.
It sounds like an amazing dessert.
Well, no. Then I read it closer. Like, Furry Anger. Furry Anger.
Right.
But no, he made it, and a lot of it is halftime, and man, it is instrumental and beautiful and psychedelic and like.
Nice.
But how do you, when you go look for music, how do you type that in? Oh, I want, there's some things that are just so genre defining.
Yeah.
And that guy is at the top of my, and he's just like Big Bud put an album out in like 99.
Right.
And and those producers have gone on to make, in my mind, weaker and weaker tunes. Sometimes when you're really hungry, like in my mind, Radiohead's earlier albums are still the best.
Yeah.
Golden.
Yeah.
I think when you're really hungry for it, this goes to something I wanted to say earlier.
It's inspiration.
James was talking about making music his number one. But you know what? There is value in it being a thing that you're strictly passionate about, money free.
Right.
When I took a year, I quit my job and I was just a visual artist for a year, maybe more. And damn, dude, by the end of that time, I look back at what I produced and it got worse and worse and worse and worse because I had to do it.
Right.
It wasn't because I wanted to anymore. It's because I had. And I feel like I finally found a good balance where like my job doesn't pay a lot, but it gets me what I need.
Right.
And it gives me enough free time to really just bliss out on music and art for 3 days a week, like no interruption. And I think I prefer it's not for everybody. I know people that they rise that challenge and they meet it head on.
Right.
I do find that they do the same thing over and over and over again. But you know what? They've got an audience and people eat it.
Yeah.
And that's great.
Right.
Well, in that totem of priority, you got to make sure that you are number one, right? Before anything else, before family, before work, before anything else, like you got to make sure that you are number one. And whatever it is, it's going to take to make sure that you are cool with you before you can even start on any of that other stuff. So if you need to inject some stuff here and there to make sure that you're cool with you and do what you got to do, then you got to do what you got to do. And if that's a non-monetarily fulfilling hobby or whatever it is, then that is what it is. And it's just a way you got to balance it, and you got to find the balance in life to be able to put all that stuff, but you got to take care of you.
Yeah, self-love, baby.
Matt Beach, I'm gonna send you some. I'll send you some particular tracks. I think they're a bit older, that I'm positive you'll dig. Sorry, I think I need to keep an eye on the chat.
No, absolutely. We're interactive. It's Twitch, baby.
How are the trees?
I'm just now getting used to the fact that I can talk to them through my mic instead of picking up my phone and typing. Like that took me a month to figure that out.
Nice.
Hey man,
awesome.
Dude, I could talk with you guys all night, and we will continue the chat afterwards. But I would like to see if James wants to throw down.
Hell yeah! That's
Shit.
what I'm looking forward.
We've been talking for an hour and 15 minutes.
That's crazy.
Okay. So
what do you think? What do you guys think?
I'm down.
Yeah,
how about if I just get a couple things sorted, use the restroom, and then I'll come back and we'll get it.
Okay.
Yeah, why don't you log out? Chuck and I will chat, and then when you're set up, let them know, and we'll rock it.
Yeah.
All right. I want to see these trees, though. Somebody do a screen capture.
Okay.
Let's do this.
Yeah.
Dude, James is the man. I fucking love this guy.
All right. Got it?
Oh, he's still on.
Just 1 second. Here, I'm gonna make sure I. Oh, did he go?
Chuck.
Did we lose him?
No, we didn't lose him.
No, that's not what I meant. I was gonna screen capture it, but that's all right.
I think
it's cool.
Personally,
do a little plug here.
I think this has been our best show so far. I do. Look, when I logged in, I had no problems. There was no audio funk. Like, we were ready to rock. James magically showed up like 2 minutes later. I thought he was going to be at least a half hour late.
Yep.
Conversation's been pretty deep. Honestly.
Yeah.
This is where I wanted to go more.
Yeah, and I just hope
Like,
it's
get
cool. I
into some
don't.
real
I,
stuff.
I get pretty passionate about certain things, and I don't want to go over to too much. So people let us know if it's like if we go too far or not, and things like that. Like we want to. We
Hey,
want to know, but
this is
some
our
stuff,
show, man.
but some stuff that we need to talk about, and some
Yeah.
things are better that we take them head on and not like sweep them under the rug, and I think
this
that
is our show. We can do whatever the fuck we want. I'm with you. I'm with you on that.
you know what
like,
I think that this
I'm with you. Don't get me wrong. I am with you. But dude, we started this so that we could do this very thing.
you're right.
If you don't like
you're right.
There's. I know it's Monday night, but you could probably find something else.
You're right. You're right. You know what the most awesome thing about this conversation right now that just happened is that
What?
most of the time, like, so we're flipped the exact opposite when it comes to music. I'm like, boom, we're going to fucking do this thing. We're going to fucking throw down and we're just going to fucking do it. And we're going to go on this ride. And you're like, well, I don't know. What are the people going to say? And
I was doing that?
And well, no, it's just we've had those conversations before, and now it just completely flipped. And I'm like, well, I don't know if we want to go too deep and go too dark because I always go too deep and too dark. That's like
no. Look, hey, no. Look, musically, do whatever you want. Well, you know what? Never mind. I don't know. I don't even know what we're talking about at this point.
We're just spinning in circles, right? It's all good.
Pretty much. No, but I think this is a really good platform to talk about problems with, and I hate using the word scene, and everybody does, but what do you? It's kind of we know. I don't know what else do you call it? The community. Because it's not just a community, because there's people outside of the community that come in, so it is a bit of a scene. Like if you're talking about the greater group of people, I think scene is an appropriate word. If we're talking about just our homies and fam, well, we could either say homies or fam or community, but I think there's a difference there. Like, and I know you and I know a little more what we're talking about than we're letting on, because there's some ridiculousness out there in the world right now. Never mind. Fucking shit, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean. I know you know what I mean.
Yeah. No. I'm totally with you. I'm just really have been through the ringer over this over the past year, right? Like it was like this whole like emotional like I felt like I had this like emotional phoenix moment with when it comes to music and events as a result of these specific things and everything. My whole like my whole heart and everything got like turned inside out, and I had to like really look at myself and my actions and my participations and what I wanted and what I was willing to contribute to, and I just.
I think that's an important, what you said, contribute to. I think that's brilliant.
And so,
because you whether you like it or not, everything that we do, we are contributing to something.
Yep.
And you might not even have full control over what that is. And it gets weird when suddenly you might get called out for something that was completely either misread or misunderstood. And the way the internet works anymore is like, if you didn't use the right emoji, you know what? Never mind that.
Well, I mean, yeah, we all know that we
to try to discuss that without.
Well, it's emotion over text is difficult, right? People get bent out of shape, and
it is, but it's even difficult versus just voice.
Well, we're all living.
I can see you from about the nipples up. But the rest of your body is holding language too.
All right.
That I'm not able to register right now.
How's this?
There you go.
How's this fucking body language for you?
That's good body language. You look like a Viking, man.
Because
Ragnar's
this is what I want to do here,
son.
And it looks like he's ready to go. So we're gonna take this. We're gonna take this body language.
Orbit.
Right
and
here.
I'm in the super shed.
Well, we're transitioning. We're in transition. We got one more show.
I want to see your landing video.
No, okay. I'm gonna do a video of a Greatest America's Hero. That's gonna be my landing.
That'd be good. That'd be good. Wow, you're like disappearing in so many weird areas.
Oh, all right. Let's get this show on the road. Let's get over. Let's get over. I love you, man. I love you guys. Thank you.
Wait a minute.
What?
Let's do a shout out real quick. Who's coming up next?
Shut up.
On the show.
Go for
we
it.
got Corey Deal next week.
Yep.
And what is April looking like? We've got
Osiris. Yep.
We've got. Holy crap! We've got Brandroid.
Yep.
We've got Soul Calderon.
Yep.
Who's the other one?
Shit, you're gonna make me pull it up. I'm on the fly. Oh, I'm gonna feel like an asshole now.
No, you know what? Don't worry. I mean, it's a month out.
Well, yeah, we'll get to it. But right now we need to get to the person at hand. And
let's get some.
And then we can
happening.
we'll do a shout out for next week when we get back. All right.
Sounds good.
All right.
Good.
Sweet.
Uh-oh.
Hey, kid, you want a toy?
Uh-huh.
How about a bike?
No.
A video game?
No!
Well, okay. You pick a toy.
I want... log! Boy, oh boy!
Yes, log. All kids love log.
What rolls downstairs, the motor impairs, rolls over your neighbor's dog. What's great for a snack and fits on your back? It's log, log, log. It's log, log. It's big, it's heavy, it's wood. It's log, log. It's better than that, it's good. Everyone wants a log. You're gonna love it long. Come on and get your log.
festival culture wages peace in the world by creating a temporary zone of planetary civilization based on art, music, and love. Art is an echo of the creative force that birthed the galaxies. Creativity is the way that the cosmos evolves and communicates with itself. The great uplifting of humanity beyond its self-destruction is the redemptive mission of art. cosmos evolves and communicates with itself. Festival culture wages peace in the world by creating a temporary zone of planetary civilization based on art, music, and love. Art is an echo of the creative force that birthed the galaxies. Creativity is a way that the cosmos evolves and communicates with itself. The great uplifting of humanity beyond its self-destruction is the redemptive mission of art.
and sky, we are strong, move the high, cut the chains, cut the lies, take a look deep inside, feel the pain and the joy, make it tune out of the noise, find the box, then unlock, take a breath, brace for shock. I am air, I'm sky, we are strong, move the high, cut the chains, cut the lies, take a look deep inside, feel the pain and the joy, make it tune out of the noise, find the box, then unlock, take a breath, brace for shock. Brace for shock. Brace. Brace. Brace.
Powdered Toast Man, come in. Please respond. Powdered Toast Man!
Hello, fellas. Out of powdered toast again? Leave everything to me.
Just look at those eyes light up.
Isn't he wonderful?
Yeah.
It's all here.
It's all in the head.
It really is.
That's great.
That is a nice record assortment there, though.
Yeah, you're gonna have to come and dig through them.
Nah.
Yeah.
I will.
Oh.
Who used to collect records and now collects board games, the calyx is universal among both tribes.
Right.
It's really funny. It doesn't work. The knockouts don't work.
Right.
And I've seen so many of them up for sale on Craigslist and eBay because the people bought them for nope.
Yeah.
And I swear to God, clearly records are designed at a certain level, but board game manufacturers now operate. If they've got one dimension right, it's the height.
Right.
Everything else is up for grabs. I've got games that one of them will take up that whole cube. But
Right.
at least they thought about the 13-inch. There's a sexual joke there.
I'm not touching it.
Oh. I hope not too. Anyway, I'm gonna let you guys talk. I talked so much last round. I'll let you guys rock it.
Yeah.
So you have a Ren and Snippy story.
Oh man. You guys remember Spike and Mike's oh man, what the hell was it?
Twisted Animation Festival.
That's it. So before they even made it onto the air, we were going to these festivals, and that was my first run-in with these guys. And I was like, that is going to be the shit. Like, I love it. I need more of it. And from that moment on, I was obsessed because we'd always walk on Ren, Stimpy, forever. That was our jam. It was my buddy and I. We just walk around, and people are like, who the hell? What is that? And then finally, of course, they made it to the big screen. But yeah, man, I fucking love those guys.
I do too.
There's a documentary called Happy Happy Joy Joy, the Ren and Stimpy story, and I watched it maybe 4 nights ago, and it's awesome, right? Until it's not, and because I remember when his name was John Crickfalusi, the guy that came up with it, and I thought this guy's a fucking genius. I love this dude, and by the end of it, like every fucking story, man, the dude takes a turn. Like,
it gets dark.
and you're like, wow, can't there? But it's really weird. They shine a light on the fact that, and let's be honest, most of the best creative minds have some serious demons they're wrestling, right?
Oh, yeah.
And
Absolutely.
most of the time, they manifest in a physical way.
Right.
That actually affects and damages other people. And I was like, yeah, that makes sense. And then one of the people that he damaged came out and said, you know what? There are also very creative minds that if they're going to damage anybody, it's themselves.
Right.
And I think if nothing else, that's a bit more altruistic. Like,
right.
If the cost of your genius has a price to pay, it's like all that lore where you got to pay a soul for a soul, right? Well, then make that soul your own.
Right.
Don't be bringing in other people to your garbage.
Right.
And that really resonated with me because I've damaged people, especially in my like early 20s where I was really figuring my life out.
Yeah.
I screwed some people over, and I don't know about you, James, but I could probably say the same is true for Chuck.
Yeah. Guilty all day.
You don't think about it you don't think about it then. You're just trying to get. And it's funny now. I'm like, I would
think about it now though.
Totally stick a knife in my own leg before I even slapped somebody.
Oh, I would beat the shit out of my own self. Yeah,
absolutely.
I was an asshole. I was an asshole.
No,
complete and utter.
But I bet you, even in your assholiness, there's some part of you that said you're not as bad as somebody else, right? It's funny how we justify things.
Yeah, right. That's legit.
But
that's legit.
That's the one thing I'm really enjoying about getting older is like this magnifying glass I can shine on myself and go, wow, I actually can talk to younger people about what the price of that move you're about to make is going to mean. And I'm telling you, it's not worth it.
Right.
That whatever momentary gain you might get from this stupid action, you're going to pay for it forever.
Right.
And I hate when people throw the word empathy around, but I've got an empathy problem. Dude, I've apologized to my brothers for shit that happened 30 years ago that I've been carrying and crying about. And they're like, I don't even know what you're talking about.
Right.
And I'm like, but then other friends of yours are like, I'm glad you brought this up. It's the human experience, man, the human condition. And to bring it back to music, it's healing.
Yeah.
Healing in ways that we don't even really get.
Yeah.
And we get to hang out and do this together.
Oh yeah. And that's the fun part.
This is therapy, man.
It is therapy, you know. And
awesome.
The irony behind that is, you know, Jules, that's what she does for a living. She's a therapist.
Shut up, Amy. Sorry.
And, you know, therapy's booming right now. A lot of people are hurting. A lot of people are struggling. A lot of shit's going.
Yeah.
Me.
We think about how much we're all walking through. So think about this. The past year, we have all been quarantining and dealing with this isolation, you know, in so many different layers. You know, for those of us that have kids, that's been just grueling to even contemplate. You know, 100% of their social lives have been completely removed, right? So you go through the fact that we're all going through the same sludge of just chaos, but then add on top like factors of like, you know, loved ones getting sick. You know, my father was recently diagnosed with terminal cancer. And the hardest part about that was not being able to go and see him in the hospital, you know, for him to be there by himself. And just imagine you get to a point where you don't want to fucking be in there and you don't want to die in there. So you would rather go home and deal with the pain and anguish of having to, you know, just carry the rest of that weight and that hurt, you know, but you would rather do that around your loved ones, you know. There have been people, you know, and my closest, my partner, you know, her mom died just before this all hit. And I couldn't imagine having her in there during COVID. It would have been just the toughest because, you know, she was dealing with, you know, mental health issues and, you know, dementia. And I couldn't imagine being like, not being able to see her family and wondering where the hell is everybody that I know and where the fuck am I? Yeah. So all these people that have gone through these struggles and these challenges on top of all of the bullshit, it's been complex, and just the dynamic of that alone, just it blows my mind.
It's overwhelming.
I'm excited to see things opening up. I'm excited to see people getting vaccinated. I'm excited to see, you know, all these changes, you know, and we're into the phase 4. And that's good because a lot of mental well-being has been crippled. A lot of people have been struggling, and it's time to do some healing. So I feel like we are at a crossroads where we've got a lot of fixing to do, and there's a lot of work, you know, and the path is laid out, and we just have to follow it. But more importantly, we got to acknowledge it. You know, there's no, you know, stuffing these skeletons in any fucking closet, because that's, I mean, you can count everybody within your, you know, line of sight. We're all struggling. We're all hurting. But the more important factor I feel is doing what we're doing. You know, the whole entire intention behind what I'm doing is, come here, baby. The whole entire intention behind what I'm doing is healing and is sharing love and that connection, you know. Yep. and I wouldn't be doing it for any other reason. I would do this on my own. I've done this for 30 years in my goddamn basement and closet because I love it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But
I think it's interesting. I think Chuck and I talked about this. Maybe it was Chuck and I. Anyway, it's funny because people can get really caught up in the technical skills of say like what we're doing right now, like talking about DJing, right?
Yeah. What
happens after say, we're going on a year and a half at this point.
Yeah.
You get back in an environment where you can be with somebody. Are you as an audience, as an attendee to this event, going to be so critical of the technical skill, or can they fucking train wreck and just get on the mic and go, who fucking cares? I love you guys. Like, I like the thought that could be what it's about.
Yeah.
Like, because I think as we get older, I'm less impressed with your technical skill as I am with just you as a person.
Yeah.
You as your track selection.
Yeah.
Like, you know what? Yeah. You know what? Those two tracks are impossible to mix. I've been trying to mix Orbital's The Box, which is like my favorite track of all time. I love it. And it's not house and it's not drum and bass. I don't know what the fuck that is, but everybody loves that song.
Yep.
And would I give a shit if I was out somewhere and someone went and threw down the box? Nope.
No.
Wouldn't give a shit. Wouldn't care. You look around, everybody's in their onesies and smiling like that's. And if nothing else, I'm wondering if this can like rebuild that sense of like, look at me as a human being, as your friend, and as an individual, and not someone. Even if you paid to be in this place,
right?
Don't equate what you paid for the value you're like expecting from it. Like,
right?
It's not what we're doing. Like,
spot on.
Because people do that. People really like. I danced for 10 minutes. I want my money back. I'm like, wow. That's a weird attitude to have in my mind. Like, I don't get see a rock band and get mad when they play their ballad.
Right.
Like, that's part of their catalog. Let them do what the fuck. Get weird with it. Get slow.
Right. Yeah.
Whatever. I'm on a soapbox tonight. Sorry,
good.
Chuck. I'm storming over.
No. It's all good, right? I mean, I had a profound like changing moment several years back, and it was as the like controller CDJ, well, more so a controller like generation was coming, and then it was an interview with Z Trip at like Winter Music Conference or something like that. And he was talking about how, yeah, this stuff's all great, but like, I don't know, I miss those moments where it's like, oh, it's getting off. Oh, he brought it back. Yeah, he's got it. He's working it, right? Those moments where it's okay to make that mistake, but they're riding it and they're flowing it, and it's like, and like that was like several years ago, and it's just like clicked, and it's like we're still just people. We're not machines, right? This is all digital and whatever else, but it's like it's okay for us to make mistakes, right? And it's even more so okay for us to make mistake on stage, but it's like how we deal with it that is who we are, right? And it's like okay, yeah, you're gonna fix it, or do you just let it go and you're just like oblivious and just like, yeah, hands up, that's one thing, or you're up there and yeah, maybe you're not quite locking in it, but you're working it and you're doing it. Yeah. I am cheering for that dude. I'm cheering so hard for that dude, and when he gets it on, I'm gonna go. It's gonna be on fire, right? Yeah. You know, and I miss that. You know, it's that, and it's just like, you know what, I don't care. I might make a mistake here and there, but I'm going to do my best to like get the message out there, to get the journey, bring us together, and just go for that feeling.
Yeah. But I have to wonder if that is a sign of if that's an aged thing, right? We get that. But I mean, but we were talking about this the other day about kids that have that. You know, we were all around before the internet. Like I don't know if that same idea can be appreciated without a lot of education.
Right.
And I think that education would have to be big enough to overshadow the end result of the sound. Like, I mean, I don't know if, say, I had a 10-year-old kid, if he could appreciate the fact that, no, that guy's really working it. You know what I'm saying? Like that takes a certain level of understanding the medium.
Right.
And something else I wanted to say is that as when doing visual art, like painting, when I would mess up, it would make me so mad because like the cost of paint, the amount of time, but then the real beauty came out when you had to fix that mistake and figure out how to like cover it up with more paint and move that around, and it forced you to change your idea of what that image was, right? And the same could be said on the audio level,
right?
But at least in painting, all you end up seeing is the end result, right? When you're at a live music event, no, you're witnessing it in real time, and it is sound waves, and we all know that sound heals. So if you're in a healing, and this train wreck happens, it actually it affects you in a different way than looking. This is an hour-long conversation. Audio works differently than visual art. So mistakes made visually are fixed and they're healing. Audio, when you're in front of a bunch of people and suddenly this transcendent vibe you're sending out gets shoved through the clothes dryer.
Right.
You just shook up a whole bunch of people's souls. I mean, like literally.
Well, that's legit too, and I'm not.
And there's something to be said for like if you're there to respect. If you're watching a turntablist, that's one thing. If I'm listening to a drone psytrance dude who's sending me deep into an LSD experience, and that choosing the dryer thing happens, it's very jarring.
Yeah,
it's a different animal. And I'm not. There's no blame being assigned, but as somebody experiencing that, you might have different opinions on what's going on.
Oh, I'm not saying it's cool to do it over and over and over again. I'm just saying, like,
that's your thing. Are you DJ shoes in the dryer?
I'm not going out to watch DJ karaoke here. That's not what that's not what we're discussing. It's it's the human element to where it's like, hey man, it's like shit floats around. Like shit floats around, man.
The point will be is that some people will respect that and some just won't.
Right.
And you're not going to be able to control the opinions that start flying around once that's out on the internet, and then you got to do damage control. And the people that know you will respect that and get it, and then it's just weird. I've seen people really damaged by strangers' opinions of them.
But that all
forums and stuff.
Sure, but that all comes along with like putting stuff out in the public domain, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we hear, like we open up and we have some conversations, right? We touched on some stuff earlier, even on this show and on some of these shows, right? We open ourselves up to massive amounts of criticism, right? But it's worth it to get the message out. It's worth it to bring the people together. It's like the healing is worth it. And so, yeah, there comes a time and when some of it can be overwhelming and you need to make a decision if it's a path you're going to continue on or not. But I don't know. Gathering haters is almost like a notch of success.
That's interesting. Yeah.
You know
Unless you're Aoki. I'm gonna throw a cake at you, Chuck.
Like, I don't know. People have disliked me for a long time, so maybe I'm just more accustomed to it.
I don't know about that.
Oh, goodness, but yeah.
All
right.
That was nice.
So, what's on the forefront for think about this. We've got a lot of shit going on. I'm really intrigued to see what happens with what you're going to do, Jeremiah. I'm excited for that. Yeah.
I don't know what that is, man. Here's my problem: is I get an idea in my sleep, and the next day, it's what's happening.
Right.
I don't care. Oh, you didn't think about this enough? Yeah, well, surprise. Now you have to.
Right.
Like I went through today and deleted. I've got 2 Mixcloud accounts. I got one for hidden cargo, which needs some more attention and love. But I went through my personal one, the Jeremiah Hammer one, deleted everything, changed it. It's all biomodular now. There are no posts there. Like, oh, that had like 50 likes. Well, it's gone now. Because I figure managing maybe 3 things. It's kind of where that might be my comfort level, where like all my weird ADD shit, it has somewhere to go.
Right.
But if I get more than 3, now I'm a criminal. Now neurosis is checking in. Friends are gonna pay. You don't want that, you don't want that. I do like. We've had this talk before, James. Like, you're like, dude, if I'm not busy, I'm gonna make myself busy.
Yeah.
And that's what I do. But when it comes to, but what's so, like I said before, it's so fun to be able to like. I don't know about you guys, but like sometimes you'll think of a name, like that's a cool name. What resonates with that? Well, biomodular to me sounded like that's got to be broken beat, weird ambient drum and bass, like kind of stuff. Okay, biomodular, and then the imagery. Well, I actually hit up Seth Grimm today. I might actually be hiring him to brand biomodular.
Nice.
He's not cheap, dude.
No.
He's dope, and we're gonna have him on the show. I love. Are you aware of Grimm?
Yes,
dude.
Phenomenal.
Everything that guy touches, give me a break, dude.
Right.
I'm constantly blown away by what I don't even know how he does it. Like,
right.
Are you designing all this from scratch? Like, what the fuck is going on?
Right. Yeah. There was a project he worked on, and I can't.
So I want to have something that like almost like hints at the idea of onset, because that label, dude,
filthy.
They put out. I'll get online and like I'll literally listen to like every. And I'm talking about Beatport here. Forgive me. I'll go to Beatport, and I'll go drum and bass releases for that day, and I'll click through every single track. No, wow, no, oh Jesus, no, whoa, and I'll look, and almost every time it's onset. I don't know what it is, but they are really goddamn good.
Yeah.
Where was I going with this? How about over to you, Chuck?
How about over down to James? That's what I.
All right, that sounds good too. I don't know. I'm just we're so lucky up here. Like,
yeah.
I mean, I've honestly never lived anywhere else, but like, I mean, you look up Pesner, you look up Odessa, you look up fucking what's his name? The Golden dude, people you wouldn't even know are from here.
Golden Shower.
Sure. Spell that. No, there are people that. But what's funny is as much as you think you're connected and you know what's going on up here, people come out of the woodwork and they hit the international level. I'm like, I've never even heard of them. Like, who the fuck is that? Like, and that is such a reminder that there are so many more people doing this.
Yeah.
That you think you know at least an idea of a little bit of people in every sound.
Right.
And then this person shows up and they're touring the world and they're from here.
Right.
Never heard of them.
Yeah.
What is going on? Like,
well, that happens a lot, right? Like people have to leave to make it. Jimi Hendrix, right? He had to leave.
Well, I mean,
what?
Before my time, but
it's how is
but
it?
Even in
it's
the
the times,
world,
right?
Like, I mean, I owned a gallery for a couple of years, and like I was like had my thumb on what was going on, I would run into people that like are now getting toy deals. I'm like, dude, I was so into that scene for like years. Never even heard anybody not even mention your name. Where the fuck did you come from?
You're just ahead of
Same
your
with
time.
music. It's the
You're
same.
ahead of your time.
It's awesome because you know, we're of an age where Seattle felt small when we were coming up.
Right.
It's not.
It's not.
It's not a small town anymore. The skyline has changed to the point where I feel like I'm driving through the opening scene of Akira. Where I'm like,
Right. Yeah.
There used to be space between every building when I drove south on I-5 and I could see the water. Now it's just building and building and building, which I think kind of sucks, to be honest. But
right.
It'd be one thing if those buildings were used for cool shit, but they're fucking Bitcoin mining.
Yeah.
Anyway. We might have lost a couple of viewers on that one. Well, let's talk about what's coming up. So okay, we did mention your this next weekend. You got like an 8-hour thing happening.
Yep. So we have Jaderade and Goobs going back to back. We've got Tate Modern. And,
yeah, that's right. Thumbless.
And then he actually did that working with me.
Was he doing that? Okay, is he the one that does This Is the Way Wood?
Yes.
Chuck.
Yeah. Real.
That's the dude that's doing the This Is the Way woodworking. You have to check him out, man.
Yeah. Phenomenal stuff.
So cool. It's so cool.
Yeah, he's got a lot of really cool, ideas that he's going to be spooling out. But
really does. He's a huge Mandalorian fan.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
I think Chuck and him should work together on something.
It's a good idea.
For Bounty Hunter. Yeah. You need a custom piece from Tate. Oh, dude. And how gorgeous would that be?
That would be awesome.
Right.
2 Seattle dudes working together on that theme to make. Okay, I'm gonna think about this.
Yeah. We threw a Rebel Base masquerade ball. Maybe 4 or 5 years ago, and that was amazing because so many people showed up in just homemade bounty hunter costumes, and it was fucking rad. Yeah, it was rad.
My goodness.
That's dope.
But, so we're starting another series. It's only going to be a monthly, but it's called Versus. And basically,
that's right. I'm stoked for that.
What we're trying to do is we've already gathered a handful of people on board, but what it is you're taking it's like the nod of the hat, to one of your favorite albums, producers, labels.
That's right.
And, it's this whole faux pas of like, don't put 2 tracks of the same guy in your set because
Nope. I like playing entire sets by the same dude.
Yeah, me too.
Or at least the same label or
some connection. Yeah, this is going to be that opportunity for you to dig deeper and explore. And some people presented some really fucking dope ideas. So I'm excited for this. It's only going to be a monthly because a weekly and a monthly.
No, dude, you're busy enough.
And but I took on a couple different producers, and so I started off with Doc Martin, and I really.
Oh yeah.
It's going to be an all vinyl set. So
nice. It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, you know what? Do that in a cabin, and invite me.
Yeah.
I want to hear that action.
Yeah. But
hey, sign me up for that at any point down the line because
think about who you just am like.
I love doing that. I love digging into somebody's catalog and being like, this is insanely awesome.
Yeah. I'm in on that if there's a spot.
And you can't. But here's the thing: you on the platforms that are available now, you can't do that.
Right.
They will shut that shit down.
Yeah. Fast.
So it's interesting. How are you going to preserve that? Do you think? Or is that even your intention? Maybe you don't want to preserve it.
No, you don't archive it. You just do it live. You
need to be there.
It's just a live element.
That's so dope.
Here it is. Take it or leave it. Here it is.
There's no recording. It's going to be live. If you miss it, then you miss it.
Oh man, that is. See, you know what? And that, I think that might be the answer to what's been going on.
Right. There have been times where I have unintentionally not tracked artists that have DJ'd And ironically enough, other people have. They've done screen captures and recorded the whole set and then pinged me and said, oh, hey, by the way, I got this for you. And I'm like, awesome. But then there were moments where I'm like, fuck, you had to be there for that though, man. You know?
Yeah.
So,
There are some things. Well, like we were talking about, like the nuclear tower thing.
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that is you.
Yeah.
Some things you honestly you can't capture.
Right.
There's a reason that people go to music events.
Yeah. Doing
There's a
huge
reason.
soundscapes and sound design projects in a cistern with, you know, orchestral musicians.
And I really need to connect you with the person I'm talking about. You guys would vibe so tough.
There's one gentleman, his name is Paul Kikuchi, and he was a music theory on top of many classes in the audio production for school that I went to. And he is in a jazz band, but an experimental jazz band. And they went up with walkie-talkies to, I believe it's the Snoqualmie train tunnel.
Yep.
And set up a drum kit on one side, and then I believe a string
Oh my God.
one on the other, and recorded their sets to each other, and then went back with the field recorder and then just compiled them. And just the body of reverb alone from that session was incredible. But it's
Sounds awesome.
somewhere I have a piece from them, but it's phenomenal. But if you look him up, his name is Paul Kikuchi.
I feel like I have looked him
Show.
up.
I loved what, I mean, you see what they do on a professional level, but then when you find out what they're really into and what they're geeking out on, it's like, I want to know more about that.
There's another place, and I don't know exactly where it is. It's somewhere along some sort of shoreline, whether that's along the bay, say up in Larrabee by Bellingham, or out on the actual coast. There's a place where you would not even know it's there. And there's this, basically a domed manhole cover that you lift up. You climb a ladder down into this abandoned, it was supposed to be a lookout during World War II. And there are dozens of these places, I mean, where we live, like it makes sense, right? And people have been trying to access them to do recordings.
Right.
Not only is it really hard to get access there before security shows up, it's also hard because the acoustics in there are completely fucking insane, right?
Mm-hmm.
But depending on what you're playing, that's fantastic.
Right.
Like I know Odessa tried to do something out of the nuclear tower and failed miserably.
Right.
Like, yeah, but you and I talked about who has done it successfully.
Right.
And you're not playing that kind of beat.
No.
You're doing more ambient shit, and you're working, that's 101, right? I mean,
yeah.
But I guess my point being, there are minds at work in this community that don't ever show their faces, that are doing things so under the radar, and they don't want to be known.
Right.
Which kind of bums me out because they should be known. They're doing amazing things, but
look up Jabon. I believe it's Jabon. Jabon.
Okay.
Super interesting cat. And I'll tell you what, he does pop-up shows, and they're like 7 minutes long.
What?
Yeah, all over Seattle. He had a tour all over Seattle, and I believe it was, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but several dozen venues, like 5, 7, maybe 11-minute sets. And
Are you
awesome.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah. But really, really unique sets. So
wow.
Sound design pieces, super obscure abstract shit, but I love that. I love it.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Wow. Shut up, Chuck.
What's happening? So here's a question, and if there's people in the chat and want to answer it as well, that's cool. During we've been kind of toying with the idea of, like, during the second half of the show, or actually maybe potentially during the performance, of handing out the Zoom link in the chat, And so when your set's over, we can come in, and as many people that are part of the chat can then interact with the artist that was there as well.
Right.
Or is that too overwhelming after you just expended all the energy and emotion of the set as it is? Is it overwhelming to come back to that? Or not? Is it something that would be maybe welcome?
I think that's great.
I think it'd be awesome.
Yeah, it'd be awesome. But I would rather do that to the latter than prior to.
Yes, yeah. That'd be after the set.
Yeah, but I think that'd be fantastic. You have an opportunity to just communicate and kind of connect.
Particularly now when it's pretty small. I mean, I can see that being a problem if there's like 800 people watching. You'd have to like do a ticket thing where it's like 5 people, right, or something like that. But
that reminds me of the hotline. It was a Britney Spears. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of this, but it was a hotline where you would call and it would just ring and ring and ring, and it was an actual psychological test to see how long you would stay on the phone and wait to pick up. So if you stayed on the line long enough, and finally they picked up, they connected you to everybody else that was waiting on the line. So all you heard was the screaming banter, but while you're waiting, it was a cover of Britney Spears, but super funky, sped up, all twisted and demented. And so they're like, how long is he going to put up with this fucking insanity before he hangs up?
That's amazing.
Yeah,
wow. Awesome.
Really, that reminds me of, and I don't know why, because it's nothing to do with it, but I watched a thing on YouTube the other night called All My Homies Hate Skrillex.
Yes.
Have you heard of this?
Yes.
It's a documentary some British kid put together about, because at first I was like, I don't know, this kid's clearly about dubstep. But
he is.
Mentioned the fact that Burial is the best dubstep artist ever. I was like,
changed his life.
I was like, I'll listen to this kid because that's the fucking truth.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Burial was awesome.
Yeah. Agreed.
It's funny what's out there, man. Like, we live in an age when it doesn't matter who you are. If enough people say you are, you're an authority.
Right.
It doesn't matter what your intention was going in.
Right.
If enough people see you do something,
right.
Now am I responsible? Like, because you're not. You're not at all. You didn't do shit. You just said something.
Right.
Now you got presidents of Nicaragua calling you, asking if this is okay. Like, you want to do a theme song? No, I don't. I don't want to do your theme song. Like, can you imagine your national anthem was a dubstep track, like a tear out?
Yeah. That's rad.
Welcome to Wikipedia. All right, I think I'm losing my mind. Pretty sure.
Wow. All right. Well, thank you very much. Okay, so next week we got Corey Deal.
That is equal parts awesome and hilarious to me.
Why so?
No, and if Corey, if you're listening, it's because okay, so Chuck, Corey, and I, like, did we all learn to DJ around the same time?
Right.
And Corey stopped. I mean, if he's listening, forgive me if I'm wrong, but he is not. I mean, at least not promoting or showing anything. I don't want to be a dick or embarrass him, but he was sending us track. What do you even call this music? I'm like, I'm gonna call it psychedelic dub womp hippie dip. Yeah, okay, cool. And I don't think he knew if that was wrong or right. And so I think next week's show is gonna be fucking hilarious.
It's awesome.
But
you cannot. But at the same time, you cannot.
No, he's an amazing human being.
Yes,
I love him to death.
And you cannot question his taste because it's always freaking on point.
No,
always
Corey
on
has
point.
Turned me on to some of the best music I've ever heard in my life. But I'm just like, I haven't heard you DJ in 15 years.
Perfect.
I'm super stoked for it, actually.
Yeah.
Like, and you know what? And I would love it if this gets him back into it.
See,
like, come
hiding out. What's up, Corey? You've been hiding out. We see you.
No, he's been a busy motherfucker, man.
Yeah,
been,
he's had some
those professional wheels.
Yep, he's had some stuff going on. But
I hope he doesn't think I'm making fun. I just think it's fascinating. What I really think it is that I'm amazed that he's got the balls to even agree to do this.
Hey,
I wouldn't do it.
and
I
you know
would-
what? That's the thing is you have
I
to
would
have
need a
balls.
few months to get it together.
No, you don't get that. Not in the landscape we're in anymore. You don't get that. You either nut up or get the fuck out of the way. That's all that's
But
left.
no, but what's great about it is I don't think he fucking cares. Like, like me or don't.
Then that's gonna be a
I'm
fucking
not here to
dope.
get a following or make any money. I want to hang out with my friends Jeremiah and Chuck. And dude, and that guy, I love him to death, and you would love him to death too, James.
I'm in.
He is
Corey,
the only. I have certain friends who, when they meet my other friends, are like, no. But Corey, across the board, everybody that I've introduced him to is like, that dude is a solid mojammer.
Yeah.
And I'm stoked for it because I think not that there's pressure when we have other guys on here, but it's going to be a very, very different vibe with Corey.
Dope. See, that's how you introduce a motherfucker. Just like that.
You're gonna love him. I hope you're able to tune in.
Right?
You'll-
No. Jeremiah's gonna dog him for a little bit, and then he's gonna be like, "But yo, he's amazing."
I just did that. I'm not gonna do that. I just did it. No, but it's the truth. And you know what? And I bet the same shit could be said for me. Like, it's whatever. I think probably the same thing could be said for any of my friends. I hate people that take themselves too seriously.
Yes.
It's
Correct.
No, it's one thing to
Correct.
be serious about your craft, but when we're talking,
We're silly fuckers.
be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're not.
All right. We know where we're at.
We're serious,
I
but
think
not
everybody's
serious.
laughing
Come on,
this
I'm
way.
serious about not being serious.
Right?
That's
I can't handle another show.
If you want to get deep, let's get deep, yo.
So hang out for after hours with James and Chuck. JC.
What?
Hey, people tell me I have a messiah complex, but I forgive them.
Oh, dude, you guys missed it. You talk about Messiah complex. I was sitting here, I was looking because my hair's got long enough that it comes down here, and I was looking up like
What's up,
this.
Chris Cornell.
That I screenshotted myself as the Thetan Jesus.
Oh, dude, we can still do that.
The Thetan.
Son of Satan. Are you a Satanist? You're a Satanist.
I'm a
All right.
Thetanist.
Oh, that's fucking great. Christmas cards.
Holy shit! Speaking of which, you know how like you've heard of people that send out like the annual Christmas letter and they say what Uncle Jerry has been doing and what we sent one out this year to a select
With
group of
that picture. And on that note,
I don't know about
thank
that.
you very much.
No, but evidently I was running for office and I would go out in the backyard and scream at the sun. Like, and her grandma wrote us back going, I hope Jeremiah wins office. No, he wasn't really doing that. I gotta go, man.
That's
I'm
awesome.
losing it now.
Me too.
All right.
Me too.
Cool.
Thank you, fellas. That was fucking really fun.
No problem. Thank you. It was
Yeah,
awesome.
James, that was
it was
great, man.
It was really. We're really grateful that you blessed us. And yes,
Oh,
there
he's
we
got it
go.
Down, literally
There
down.
there we go.
No, this has been my favorite show so far. No offense to this come before, but we've really been flattening out the wrinkles, and this one went really smooth. I think.
Yep. Had a couple issues, but we worked through them and resolved them. It's all good.
Good shot. Let
Yeah.
James
So
go to
really
bed,
really
man.
grateful
The
and
hardest work
looking
of my
forward to work more.
Check it out.
Yeah, buddy.
Dude,
Yeah, buddy.
no.
There we go.
Dude, two of my roommate and Tracy, if she's still listening, both got theirs today.
Hell yeah, let's do it. Let's all get a shot.
Sorry, Katie.
Hell
Our
yeah.
friend Katie. Pretty dope,
Awesome.
man.
Thank you.
Get vaccinated.
Yes,
I'm getting
please.
on
Fucking around.
Everyone.
on it.
However you can, whenever
gonna
you
make out
can.
with all
Just
my
fuck
friends
it. Just
first.
get the shot. All right.
All right.
We're
I'm gonna
gonna
let you guys go.
raid into the
All
jungle.
right.
We're gonna
Hey,
raid
guys,
in.
Almost 3.5 hours. Are you kidding
Yes.
me, dude? This is the longest running one yet.
All right, we're gonna raid into the jungle cruise. So we're gonna go into some German base. We got
Let's do it.
Corinne
Great.
and the
Let's raid out.
Duchess. These girls are pretty dope, actually. So we're gonna get on with that.
Love you, James, man. Looking forward to what's coming up next.
You
I'm gonna
guys.
watch everything you do.
We'll see you soon.
You're the fucking man.
Cheers.
Awesome.
Much love, brother. Let's raid out.
2, 1, bam. Right now,
Oh,
and
there
boom.
she is.
Now we should be on some German base.
Party of 5. I'm gonna say, hey yo, and then I'm gonna go to bed.
Yeah.
All right, homie. Hey, dude, I fucking love you, man.
You too. That was awesome. Thank you.
This shit has been. It gets better every week, and like even as misdirected as like we don't. No one ever comes to the table with like a list of questions or anything. But dude, it just keeps getting fucking better.
Yep.
I think we're getting more comfortable in front of like talking to each other and like just we clown when we know it's a good time to clown and we're serious when it's a good and we pull back when it's time to like maybe lighten the mood or whatever.
Yep.
Dude, I'm really proud of us, dude.
Yeah. Me too. Me too. And I'm kind of excited to see what happens with the opening up the second half.
So am I.
We'll see if people join. We'll just see what happens.
I think if we can pull off that 8-meter audit, like I didn't think much about it until you brought it up, and I was like, that might be a really good point. Super Shed, it's got a way funner vibe to it. It hints way more at the fact that we're just kicking it, and we're not actually auditing your ass.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
It's good. I'm super stoked. This is fucking fun.
Yep.
All right, brother.
Yep,
I'm
definitely.
gonna log off.
All right. Yeah, me too. This is awesome. 3.5 hours.
Bill, yeah, that's crazy. That's fucking crazy. It didn't feel like that at all.
Nope.
Hit me up. I'm gonna log off, but I'm gonna have a smoke, brush my teeth, hang out for a minute. I'll be up for another good 40 minutes.